What's up, Brew Crew? Opie here. Welcome back to my Brew City Garden. Today is October 14th, and today is pretty nice. It's like 55 degrees or so, but last night wasn't so bad. The night before, Mother Nature decided to skip the early fall frosts, the light frost, and went straight to a hard freeze. And unfortunately, the Brew City Garden, except for the most hardy plants in the garden, they're all gone. But anyway, I promised you a Yacon video, and now's the time to get that stuff out of the ground. It did get hit by the hard freeze, so the Yacon plants themselves look terrible, but I'm hoping that the hard freeze didn't have any effect or couldn't penetrate the straw enough to damage the rhizomes. That's what I'm really after this year. I'm trying to build up my stock of rhizomes to propagate year after year and actually begin to sell those. Because they really do pull a pretty hearty profit. So if you're thinking of gardening for money, you might want to consider Yacon. So what is Yacon? Yacon is a South American a perennial, actually. It's native to the Andes Mountains. And it's related to the sunflower family, sunchokes, in that family, and are actually kind of known as a survival plant in South America because it's easy to transport. It's a great source of water. So if you're hiking long trips or packing the mountains, you can carry a bag of Yacon with you, and if you can't find water, you can eat the Yacon. It's extremely crispy and juicy. Now the taste is kind of hard to describe, but if I had to put my finger on it, I would say it's somewhere between a very light apple pear type flavor with just maybe a hint of carrot in it. It's really unique, and it's actually quite delicious. So the Yacon actually has some other uses as well. The sweetness in the Yacon comes from a chemical called inulin, which is the same chemical that you would find in sunchokes or the Jerusalem artichokes. It provides a sweetness, but it does not affect blood sugar levels. There's no sugar in it. So the inulin has the sweet flavor, and you can consume it without adversely affecting your blood sugar levels. So for diabetics, Yacon is a great way to go. And if you look online, you're probably not likely to find the rhizomes very easily, but if you look around, you'll see syrups and juices made from Yacon for cooking and for whatever use you want to use it for. So it is really popular in the diabetic market. And if you haven't heard of it and you're diabetic or somebody in your family, it's something you might want to consider to throw in your garden next year. All right, so let's drudge through the garden of death back here, and let's dig up this Yacon and see exactly what we got this year. I think it was a phenomenal year. It's the best Yacon year I've had yet above ground. Let's see what it looks like underneath the straw. All right, guys, let's go. All right, so as you can see, the Yacon got it just beat up. I mean, it looks like hell compared to what it did a few days ago. All these leaves have been frozen, and this plant it's done for. It's dead. So this stuff's got to come out of the ground. I'm just hoping that the rhizomes and the fruits themselves, the tubers, are in good shape. Let's find out. All right, so I went ahead and sprayed this off with the hose just so you can see a little bit better. With this particular Yacon plant, I didn't really get the tuber production that I was hoping for, and there's one right here. And break that off. And we will eat this entire tuber here. It's quite delicious. But as you can see, the rhizome development is actually really good on this one, and we can see the sprouts already beginning to come up all over here. Now, that's not a big deal. If I pack these properly in some moist sand and put them in a cool environment, like the bottom drawer of a refrigerator or a cool basement, these will actually hibernate for the winter, and we can pull these back out again in late January and pot them up and get them started. These are very, very slow starters, so I will start these approximately around the same time as you would start onions. But once they get going, they really take off. So as far as rhizomes go, this looks really good. Let's see what the other plants have to offer. Stung by a damn wasp. I'm not sure if you caught that or not, but as I was spraying those Yacon tubers off, I got stung by a wasp right in the palm of my hand. Little bastard. That hurts. All right, guys, so as far as Yacon goes in the north, I would say we ended up with a really, really nice harvest. What I'm gonna show you here is just a little tuber, and just do a little taste test here. Just take my potato peeler and get that skin off. Try not to drop it on the ground. That's okay. Just peel this up. It's a nice, creamy flesh color, very crispy. We'll just see how this tastes this year. This stuff, you'll notice, just like an apple, it oxidizes very quickly. So if it's peeled and kind of sitting around, you'll notice that it'll start getting a dark color. It doesn't affect the flavor whatsoever. Very crispy, very watery, very watery. Right now it just has the flavor of a carrot, a really light carrot flavor. I really wish we could harvest these earlier in the summer. because this would be a perfect summertime food. So all these aren't very sweet right now. Yacon, if you let them sit, especially let them sit in the sun for a few days, they will sweeten up. And what I'll do is we'll eat a lot of these tubers right away. The rest of them I'll put in a cool, dry area in my basement. And these will actually keep all winter. When you pull them out of the bucket, say in January or February, and look at them, they'll be kind of shriveled and dried up, and you'll look at that and you'll go, I don't know about that. But trust me, just peel off, and the inside will still be just a nice flesh. It'll be a little more rubbery, but it'll be 10 times sweeter. So if you can just kind of get past the way it looks, it's actually really worth it. And they sweeten up a lot. They're really good. One caveat I mentioned about the inulin in these Yacon, and it's the same way with the Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes. With Jerusalem artichoke, there's kind of a funny saying that goes around. Some people call them fartichokes. Well, the thing of it is the inulin is actually a probiotic. So not only does it not affect blood sugar levels, but it's really, really healthy for your guts. The only issue is all of those microbes in your guts really love that inulin. They'll eat it up like you wouldn't believe. And when they do, they release a byproduct, which means you'll be releasing byproducts too. So if you don't mind a little bit of, then they're actually really good. And they're not terrible. I would recommend starting with just a few, cubes or bites a day. See how it makes you feel, and you can actually build up from that day after day, and your stomach will kind of get used to it. But right off the bat, these will make you fart. So I'm just putting it out there, just so you know. So let's take a look at one of these that I've dug up. And as you can see, so these are the edible tubers. Actually, the whole thing is edible. But these are these are the storage for the plant. So in the winter time in South America, yes, it doesn't get as cold, but these plants do tend to go dormant. And in those times, it will use the energy stores in these tubers to help keep itself alive. Same way with if there's drought or a lack of precipitation, the plant can sustain itself through these watery tubers. These are the parts that I will harvest and will eat. And like I said, I'll store some in the basement. And if you look closer, you've got these rhizomes, these growth tips. And you can see these are already kind of starting to sprout a little bit. And that's where the new plants will grow from. And a great example, if I turn it around, you can see right here, this rhizome has already put off a new shoot, and this would become a new plant. And that's how it works all the way around. Now obviously this plant is not going to survive. We'll just go ahead and get rid of it. I'll harvest my tubers off of these, and instead of eating the rhizomes, I am going to save these rhizomes. And what I will do is I will pack them in a moist but not wet sand, and I will put them in a small refrigerator that I have in the house. Keep them under 50 degrees, but probably not under 40. You don't want these to get too cold because they will not survive. I've experienced that. So this is my third year growing the Yacon, and it's kind of tricky to save these through the winter time. And I'm getting better at it. My survival rate is definitely better, and I think this year hopefully I will get no casualties at all, and I should have a very nice collection of rhizomes to plant next year, propagate those again, and essentially quadruple my rhizome count. And then after that, I will consider offering these up for sale. A small rhizome bulb like these have been fetching about $20 US online. So if you dedicated a whole garden to this and we're able to successfully propagate and sell these, you could actually probably make a very nice profit. Now, obviously, we're not getting the production that we would get if we were further south. I would say if you were anywhere from the southern Illinois, Tennessee area all the way into the tropics, these would do very, very well. And I would think anywhere above zone 7 or zone 8, you wouldn't even have to, you could just put the rhizomes back in the ground and they would propagate year after year. You wouldn't have to worry about storing these for the winter time. So that would be nice, but we make do here in the north, and it seems to work out fine. These tubers look pretty good for what they are. Now, I've seen some that were huge, like massive yams or sweet potatoes, but you know what? That's pretty good. That'll feed the whole family and keep everybody in the house gassy for a day or so. And of course, like I said, I knew there were some potatoes mixed into the garden, and we did okay. I stabbed a few of these, so we're gonna have to eat them fairly quickly, but that's another maybe 4 or 5 pounds of potatoes. So I'm happy with that. So I gotta tell you, this Yacon harvest for me is really kind of bittersweet. It's sweet because I've been looking forward to this Yacon all year. It's just one of those plants that I just love to grow. And it's like a kid on Christmas when you dig these things up and you see what you got. But at the same time, this really marks the end of the warm weather crops for the year. Everything's winding down. Really all I've got left are some carrots and some cold crops. I've got some Brussels sprouts coming on. But it really means that it's time to break down the garden. So starting probably this week through next weekend, everything's going to come out of the Bale garden, and we're going to start prepping and setting up for our spring garden and the Jose the neighbor garden. So there's always something to look forward to, and if anything else, we got straw bale gardening Australia to watch over the winter time, just to get our fix of the greenery. So I'm also looking forward to that. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for joining me here again today at the Brew City Garden for our fall Yacon harvest. I'm really happy with what we got, and I think everything went really, really great this year. Hey, if you like this video, do me a favor, give me a big thumbs up. And if you want more information, you can check out my Facebook page at Brew City Gardener, or check out our straw bale gardening group called the Global Straw Bale Gardeners Collective, where you can find more information on my garden and other straw bale gardens across the world. All right, guys, it's time for me to get out of here, get cleaned up, pack up these rhizomes. You guys have an awesome day. Happy gardening. We'll see you.